Hi, everybody. I'm Pat Vanderwall, bass drummer with the Shannon Rovers.
And I'm Marc Horner, bagpiper with the Shannon Rovers.
And we're here to present the official podcast, Good Craic, 100 Years with the Shannon Rovers. Horner, can you believe it's been that long?
I cannot, I can almost count that high. But just like any other bagpipe performance, I guarantee you're going to experience a wide range of emotions listening to these episodes. You're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to hear stories you've never heard before.
Yeah, we have a great lineup of guests, past, present, and hopefully future Rovers. Stories you've never heard before. We can't wait to give it to you.
So enough of the two of us. Let's get under the kilt.
Hope you enjoy the episode. Well, we are pleased to be joined by two brothers. The brothers Costello.
Costello brothers.
Brian and Sean Costello, two pipers in the band. Both have long tenures and relationships with the bagpipes. Two of our favorites, Horner.
Yeah, and actually two of my brothers.
Yes.
There's three brothers in this room.
I forgot.
Marc Horner is my mom's favorite.
Mom's favorite.
And toughest birth.
Anybody that would see the three of us together would know instantly. That's family.
If you squint your eyes, it's like, oh, of course they're brothers.
I think you guys were the inspiration for the Schwarzenegger-DeVito twins movie.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. The three of you guys.
Yeah. I feel a little insulted on behalf of my brothers.
Because I called you Schwarzenegger?
Yeah. Oh, I'm Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, you ever seen the movie?
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Wait a minute.
That makes perfect sense.
Something to do.
That makes perfect sense.
No, Sean, Brian, thanks for joining us. We wanted to talk and reflect a little bit in some of these visits with our guests about the importance of family in the band and relationships in this band. And you guys are one of several families that are that have joined together to be part of the Shannon Rovers. And just wanted to know maybe how you guys got your start in it. Did one join before the other? Did one have a little peer pressure put on, alarm twisting? How your parents felt about it? The whole shebang. Give us a little.
Have there been any fisticuffs, brotherly fisticuffs?
Not fisticuffs. You know, there's been a couple times where we didn't talk for a few hours because, you know, and we had to let the booze lie down, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
let the booze lie down. I love that.
Yeah. So, but, you know, not really. I mean, it's, you know, it's funny. You know, it's awesome playing with this guy, you know, all the time. I, you know, love when he's there. It makes me happy. But bottom line, I think I told you before I started, my wife got me lessons. And of course, you know, I didn't say then, but when I started practicing, she's like, "Oh my God, he's playing the bagpipes. Please make him stop." You know, but I would call up Sean. I started taking lessons, and I really wanted Sean and my other brother Rob to play. So I would call them up on my way to lessons and basically say, "What are you doing? You know, I know what you're doing. You don't need to be doing that. You need to be practicing the bagpipes with me." You know, and Sean, you can, you know.
Yeah, no, it was like every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday,
right? It was like
I
Tuesday, and I'd be watching the Sox game, and I'd be like, "What are you doing? What are you doing tonight?" You know, and it, you know, give me a hard time. It was kind of fun.
Like he knew you weren't doing anything, so you should be practicing with him and learning the bagpipes.
Did you play any instruments, Sean, before the bagpipes? So this is your first musical instrument. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no piano lessons, nothing.
Mm-mm. No.
So you did it begrudgingly, maybe a little bit.
I always loved the bagpipes.
Okay, but what got you finally off the chair?
Well, he'd call me every Tuesday.
Yeah, right.
So after like 2 months of it, he finally caved.
Yeah, I caved. I'm like, okay. She's like, come on, it'll be fun. I'm like, okay, all right. Then
and we had kids at that time.
After a month or two, I was like, all right.
I'm like, it gets you out of the house. It gets you, you know, learning something new that you're not, you know, I think music is great for any age. You know, it's
good for your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, they say, you know, kids that do musical instruments, you know, in grade school, it helps them.
Yeah,
you know,
so,
better.
So with no musical training whatsoever, take us back to when your first learning how to play the bagpipes.
Yeah, so
how does that
we were
work?
with what was the guy's name? George Boyd.
Yeah, so
at
we
the
were
Heritage Center.
Yeah, we were kind of at a crazy progression. So we started with this. They weren't an Irish band; they were just like bagpipers, but really they're, you know, like the show Doctor Who. They were like big fans of Doctor Who, and would go practice with them. And one guy looked just like Santa Claus. I mean, he was the perfect Santa Claus you've ever seen in your entire life.
Mack.
Steve Mack, yeah, he's a great guy. And we're trying to get him with the Rovers, but these guys were teaching us, but they're also like more talking about Doctor Who stories. You know,
Yeah,
let's go. You know,
they would drink diet like Tab and like
they'd bring snacks
and like
and we're at the
snowballs,
Heritage
or the
Center.
Hostess
Yeah.
snowballs, and they'd sit there and just taught. Like,
Yeah. And we're
shoot
like,
the
we
shit.
want to
You're like-
learn.
and you're like, hey, come on, let's go. You know,
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
here to listen to these Doctor Who stories.
Yeah. And then,
Diet tab.
Remember snowballs.
Yeah,
Tab and
You know, the
snowballs.
coconut,
Yeah.
the snowballs.
you know, and
those-
I know
progressed
that
to
if
Zima.
your guys' progression through the bagpipe and, stuff, there tends to be a lot of guys that are not in the best shape that play the bagpipes.
I can't understand what you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
yeah, the wives made both our wives have made
Yeah,
comments.
when I-
you can't.
When I
end up
joined the
like,
Shannon Rovers
some
first,
of those
Katie told me
Rovers.
I couldn't get big and fat like so and so.
Wow. Dropping names, too.
Wow. Yeah.
I didn't mention those names.
No, you didn't. You're
Yeah.
good. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. You're good.
But then we wound up getting. I was literally going to pay my insurance bill, and I look on the back of his desk, and he had a practice chanter. And I'm like, dude, you play the bagpipes? He's like, oh yeah, I used to. Blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm trying to find someone who can teach my brother, and he knew who's the woman from River Forest that.
Oh,
She was super nice.
Mary.
Mary.
Mary. What's her last name?
So there's a bunch of Shannon Rovers that broke off, and which is why we're having trouble getting off. We wound up getting hooked up with them, and they started teaching us through this Mary girl and through my insurance agent. And it was funny because like after like 3 months, they came to us and said, "You'll never be good enough to play with us.
You're too old.
You're too old."
too
Because
old.
Wow.
what most competition bands won't if you're like 30, you
they
got to
want,
be in
like,
your they want you in your teens.
Yeah.
Because
The nimble
like
fingers
look at
and all
like
that.
like Elsa's son, like you learn that early, you can just
Fly.
shred. Yes,
Right.
yeah,
you
Yeah,
could,
you
and
go fast.
and with
Progress.
everything they pick up the music quicker. They're sponges, whereas like we're old. Oh God,
You got all
what's-
that mushy going on. in
Yeah,
your head.
exactly.
We
You know.
talked about it before.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
so
a lot
it's
of coconut chobani up there.
There's
Yeah.
a
You know
lot
what
of
I'm saying?
coconut chobani
Yeah,
in my
yeah.
head.
So then they basically told us we'd never be good enough, and then they
was
said
kinda
they would
hurtful.
Yeah, it was really
Yeah, a
hurtful, I
little
guess.
bit. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
We're giving you the boot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Welcome
so
to
can't
Can't wait
practice.
to get started.
You suck. You'll never be part of the
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
tried to get us in
You'll
the
never
Rovers.
be
The
good
Rovers
enough.
said no, and then that's how we got hooked up with Terry McHugh, and
So that
Dudery-
Mary lady
Yeah.
hooked us up with Terry McHugh.
who was the guy who taught us, who was a previous Shannon Rover pipe major. It was a great instructor.
Piper.
I mean, and they actually, the Midwest Pipe Band Association, they have a competition named for it's the Terry McHugh.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And and Dave McHugh was the bass drummer in the band when we
So
first
Dave
joined.
McHugh was in the band when
So-
we started in the band. He was a quartermaster, his son. So,
Okay.
but
So you mentioned seeing somebody's practice chanter. So
Yeah.
so again, for the uninitiated, a practice chanter basically, I've described it as looking like a recorder.
yeah, so it's like that's what I tell like when I see little kids and they're excited about the bagpipes. I'm like, you guys play the recorder on at school? Oh yeah, we do. I'm like, same fingering. You can play the bagpipes then. And it blows kids' minds, but it's very recognizable to a bagpiper. If you see one, you're like, that's
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure most people would not know what it is, but of course I did. So it was fortuitous for us because that's how we kind of wound up with the Rovers. Eventually, it took us a couple years, but like I said, we would talk to my mom, and she's like, "When are you going to get in the Rovers?" When are you
Yeah.
gonna-"
There was a guy at my work, and he's like, "Oh, are you playing the bagpipes?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And and he's like, "Are you with the Rovers?" And I'm like, "No." And
Yeah.
he was like sad. He's like, "You got to get in the Rovers."
yeah.
Yeah, right.
No, and it's funny because like coming from a competition, I love that we came from a competition background because it gave us good fundamentals and stuff, and we
Terry
get
was a
different
great teacher.
perspectives than a lot of. If you just join this band, you only have this perspective. So I can see how other people are kind of doing their stuff, but then tell them the story how then we got with the Rovers, Sean.
Oh, okay. So we were with Terry. What was it, a couple of years, and there was going to be. I was Terry. No.
You be kind, but yeah,
Yeah. So
Terry was a very tough boss, or leader and
Tough love.
Yeah, he
Yes.
was like old school. It's like if you did something wrong, he would tell you to the point where you would see veins coming out of his head, and he would not be bashful. He would tell you like we're literally playing a wedding, and he'd be like, "What the heck? That is not a D throw. You're playing that terribly." I'm like,
yeah, he'd scream at you.
he'd scream at you. I'm like, "There's a wedding
there and then.
behind you."
Right.
Like, it's like
Right.
the song breaks, and then you're getting yelled at for playing like a C
During
doubling
the
wrong.
performance?
Yes. So Sean was like, "We can't do this anymore. We gotta go
Yeah, I'm like-
somewhere else. We gotta go somewhere else." And it was a South Side band, even though we're from the West Side. And in the Rovers, everyone thinks we're if they're from the North Side, then we're South Siders. If they're from the South Siders, they think we're
Right.
North Siders. But
Very true.
The West Side is far from the South Side, so all are like we'd go play these weddings, and it was everything was like 100 and something.
Right.
You know?
And we didn't have that many people in the band.
Yeah,
and so if a bass drummer or a drummer or a couple pipers couldn't play, we couldn't play the job.
Like if like
And
we
it'd
had
get
like
really
a
mad.
family party, then he'd like, oh fine, we can't play the wedding then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how
Sorry, it's my
small the
mom's
band- the
birthday. We
band
got to
was
go
real
to it.
small.
You know.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he was a great teacher. But he was wearing thin on Sean. He was wearing thin on me too. It was tough.
Yeah, I was ready to 86, you know.
Yeah, sure.
So
And-
then he comes to us one day and he's like, okay, the Rovers reached out to us. They want us to join.
here.
And he's like
You
kicking
were
me
almost
under
done,
the.
Sean?
I was almost done. I was
He was
ready to
gonna-
quit.
yeah,
I
he was
go,
gonna quit.
I can't handle this as a hobby.
Right.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
If you're not having
Right.
fun with your hobby,
Yeah.
why are
No,
you doing
no.
it,
So,
right?
so then he, like Brian said, he came and said, "Oh, we're going to merge. We're going to merge with the Rovers."
And we had a
I was
vote.
like,
Let's go.
I go, what? I told Brian, I go, whatever happens, we're outie.
Yeah, we're
You know,
gonna, we're this is gonna be our
gonna be
move
with
to,
the
I've been
to be with the
paroled.
Rovers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny. For the job that we're playing first was 4th of July. So it was funny because there was one guy who was in our band. He was a perfect looking bagpiper. He had the greatest mustache you've
Handlebar.
ever seen in your life. It was solid. And he did, we had to make practices to play, and we were, making
He was
practices.
an older guy.
Yeah, an older
He
guy.
had some health
He had
issues,
health
I think.
issues. He could play okay. It wasn't the greatest, but he shows up the day of, and our pipe major and the Shannon Rover pipe major got into it over this guy playing. And Terry McHugh said he's better than most of your pipers, and he's like, well, he didn't show up.
He can,
so
he
be
can
color
carry a flag.
guard,
Yeah, he can carry a flag.
So then Terry, being a stubborn Irish guy, goes, that's it. We're all leaving. Let's go. Let's walk out. We're leaving. And me and Sean are like sitting there with our families going, want to be a Rover.
Yeah, no, we want to stay.
Yeah.
So Pat Driscoll, God rest his soul, was we get on the bus, and it's
Yeah, we're in the backyard. We're like,
Was Pat
cowering.
the band manager at the time? Pat
No.
Driscoll? Or
No, he
Okay.
was just, he's a senior guy. And
Sure.
he was the first person we saw when we got on the bus after this big fight erupted.
Yeah,
and
in
our
the
band
front of
left. and
Dr.
we
Al's house.
stayed.
Yeah.
Dr. Al, yeah. So I literally went to Pat, I'm like, is it okay if we stay with you guys? Can then we be a part of you guys? Because if we don't go with him, he's going to kick us out. He's like, no, you can stay. That's for sure you can stay. And I'm like, but you don't understand. Terry's like, I know Terry very well. I've known Terry longer than you have. Yeah, because he was in the band before. So we like to refer to that as our Independence Day.
You have a lot of days. We have the Costello Independence Day. We have Brian Costello Day. Yeah, that was all. But so you guys being together in that band must have been a huge weight lifted, Sean, right?
Oh, it's great. And the Rovers are so much fun and a family band.
Yeah.
And everyone's, like welcome.
My
my
parents were
family's
through the
welcome
roof that we got in the band.
It's great being a Rover.
And then a few years later, 2004, we played the Dublin St. Patrick's Day parade that you're mentioning. And my mom, who loved the Rovers, was sick with cancer. And we got the whole family to go on the trip. And if you remember the trip to Ireland, it was epic, on
Awesome.
buses, running around, super
Awesome.
fun. And
They had Mom's Day over there.
Yeah,
so that
it was
kinda cool
Mom's Day during St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, wow.
So
To be with
it was
Mom on there.
special having our mom there, and they had a Mom's Day mass in Killarney at the cathedral.
Oh, my goodness.
And
We
the
went to
floor,
church. It
so
was
the,
cool.
Tailor made. That couldn't
Yeah.
have been scripted any
yeah,
better
the
for you
floor
guys.
is made out of
was.
Connemara marble.
Really pretty.
John F. Kennedy planted like a sequoia outside of the church.
I'm surprised you guys came back.
Which is now like this massive tree. So we got a picture with my mom who loved JFK and the whole family in our kilts, and we marched the whole church out of the cathedral playing at the exit of mass. It was truly special, kind of like awesome for us because we knew how much she loved the Rovers, and for us to be in Ireland, which she loved, and be together as a family was. It was awesome.
Was that the trip
Epic,
your dad
yeah.
was sipping the Carlsberg and
Yes.
enjoying
Yeah.
himself?
That was the famous the Donnybrook of Galway.
Oh.
But
Well, you guys, so I'm assuming like this had to be something that once you guys started playing, I know you were playing in that other band first, but once you got to the Rovers and the weight was lifted and the fun was injected back into your hobby, right?
Yes, yeah.
And
Yes.
you took off. And I mean, I've been fortunate enough, and I know Mark has been fortunate enough to do, we've been in your guys' group on St. Patrick's Day together.
Yeah.
And what a hoot. We get some really good jobs. It's a lot of fun. It's balanced. It's
Boatload of fun.
neighborhood parties. It's
Yes.
bars. It's Mercy Home, like a lot of these Irish parties for these flagship Chicago organizations.
Yeah.
And it's the boat we've discussed before and all that. It's so fun. Can you guys think, like, did that elevate your guys? I don't want to sound corny with this, but did that elevate your guys or strengthen your guys' relationship at all? Doing this together, having more fun, or?
Wow, Barbara Walters style interview there. Man, going for the tear-jerking question.
I'm asking a question. They might be like, no, we're cool. We're good.
Like I said, we've had our fights along the way, and it's usually because we've been playing too much. And, when you're playing too much, you're also drinking too much. And but for the most part, I think it's definitely strengthened it. It's like, we talk almost every day. And it's usually part of the conversations about the Rovers and what's going on. And, but I truly would be sad if I looked over and he wasn't there playing with me anymore.
You're forgetting about the experience, the capstone experience event when you go out with the Costellos.
Why don't you tell the uninitiated what we're talking about?
The ride home.
the sandwiches?
We'll get to the sandwiches. That's something you're going to explain to the world.
Behind the scenes, what it's
under
like
the kilt.
Under the kilt, what it's like to ride in the car with the Costellos after a full day of bagpiping. We'll leave that for another time.
That's another
it feels like those records should stay sealed.
Yeah. But Sean, you're clearly happy that you learned how to play the bagpipes. You have an ear for it. I know Brian has told me, he's like, I think Sean is probably the best tuner, the bagpipe tuner in the band, which means you have to have an ear for it, right? Because I don't know how the inner workings of a bagpipe set works, but I know that you get your drones and everybody. Like, I will tell you this, and I'm looking straight at the camera here. You definitely don't want to be around the group 5 minutes before the job starts, because tuning for the pipers, the drummers all just leave the room and stay down at the bar. If you think when we sound great, they don't always sound great. Things can happen to bagpipes based on temperature and the way things, like you're talking about hemp and string and pipes and all this other stuff. And there's a hole in the bag. There's all these kind of things that can happen. So you go around and you tune the pipes. And I know that, we have, what do you have, the different apps on your phone that tell you if it's good to go or for lack of a better word. But
and back in the old days, they literally had like a transistor radio thing that was like the same thing for tuning, which, the batteries went out. But that's why most of the old school guys are just really good doing it by ear.
Sure.
Which Sean can do by ear.
But Sean's got to have, that's what I mean, to your point. Like, I'm not trying to blow sunshine here.
I can tune them, but I'm not the best with the reeds. Like, with drone reeds, like, I really can't
but he can get them, So, like, there's so many things that can go wrong with your bagpipes. Like, drone reeds are, like, they're crazy. So they go wonky on them. Like, you can screw them, you can change the bridle. There's a bunch of things you can change on them, but the more you touch them, the more you can send them out of whack. And then getting back to that sweet spot is tough. So that's what he's talking about with the drone reeds. But when he's tuning a set of pipes, he can do it by ear better than like anyone I know. So
thank you.
But
that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's good.
But I think we should talk about the Costello sandwich, and it's the start.
Tell us.
Let's hear about the Costello.
You may have heard about this tradition.
Yeah. How did that? Did that start? Was it college?
Was that the Jim McMahon one?
Yes. Well, so the Costello sandwich started in college with all my brothers. We would find a pretty girl and be like, "Oh, can we get a picture? Costello sandwich. We're the bread, you're the meat in our bun," type thing.
So they're in the middle. So Mark, why are you sitting between the Costellos right now? And then you have your own visual Costello sandwich. All three Costello brothers in a sandwich here.
This is
there we go.
This is our brother.
Uncomfortably close. Where's the camera?
Can't you see the resemblance?
Right? It's obvious.
It's so obvious. So obvious.
I forget who's Brian, who's Sean.
Yes.
The Costello sandwich. There's a million pictures out there.
Yeah.
And you guys are together a lot in the band and working at Soldier Field together. You guys see a lot of different, especially with the band.
With the band, you see a lot of famous people. We love getting pictures with politicians, mainly because I have a wall in my basement where every politician who's gone to jail who's got a Costello sandwich that's just dedicated to that.
On my phone, that's what comes up, a sandwich of one of them in jail.
And Burke just made the wall. Super happy about that.
When Horner goes to prison, we'll have that.
I'll have that one.
Yeah. Let's move on.
But so bottom line, starting college,
Your inevitable
to get a picture with the pretty girls, we would do that. But the best one was it was one of those hot days for St. Patrick's Day, and we were playing. We're down just to shirts, band shirts and no ties, because it is 85
super hot
degrees.
for St. Patrick's
Okay.
Day.
And playing the bagpipes is tough, and
In polyester and wool.
And wool, yeah. So
What a great idea, by the way. Thanks a lot, forefathers.
For summer,
right?
Yeah, I think it was designed for a different climate. But anyway, so we were playing up by Wrigley Field at the old Harry Carey's, and they
And then
literally
high
had
tops, those
High
high
tops,
tops.
right,
High
with the
tops.
bar, yeah.
They
They had-
changed names a couple
they
times.
had like this like mini stage that was almost like for a fashion show type stage,
Yes.
if you
It's
know what
weird.
I'm
Almost
talking
like a
about. It was like
runway.
runway
Yeah,
down
it was-
the
yes.
thing.
I know it well.
We're playing there. It's super hot. A female client offended Sean by going underneath this kilt. So Sean was heated because, the girl was inappropriate, And so we're going to leave, and they're like giving us beers, and I'm like, Sean, you want a beer? And he's like, no, I'm so mad. I'm leaving this place. I'm totally leaving it. As he walks out, Jim McMahon walks in with the Tommy Boy shirt, the
Callahan Auto Parts.
Callahan Auto Parts, and I'm like, Jim, I would love to get a picture with you and my brother. He's like, yeah, let's go. I love the Bagpipers. Go get them. So I walk out to Sean.
I'm
He's
on the bus.
He's on the bus. I'm like,
Son had had enough.
I go, Sean, come on, let's go. And he's crabby. I'm like, no, we got a Costello sandwich. We got to do this one. He's like, I'm not
He
taking any.
wouldn't tell me who it was.
He's like, we're not taking any pictures. I'm like, get your butt up. I literally grabbed him by the ear. I'm like, we're getting this
I'm like,
picture.
okay. All right.
I drag him back
brother,
in the
little
bar.
brother.
Jim McMahon is waiting for us, and I go, put your arm around him,
This
get
guy.
in the middle.
And I'm like, I
he
look
doesn't
up
know
and
who it
I'm
is
like,
yet. And we go we give him the Costello sandwich, and he looks up at him. He goes. I go, turn and smile.
I told you. Yeah.
So that's my favorite Costello
was-
sandwich picture
yeah.
because he was like so crabby a hot second before, and then it's just
Smiling ear to ear.
Yeah.
The next moment.
And those that know, the old, if you know, you know, there's a lot of people on social media who always write, it's a Costello sandwich
Yeah.
or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's a thing, man.
it is. It's a thing now where people expect it. The fans want it.
Yeah. Gotta give the people what they want, Brian. That's what this band's all about.
My favorite too is when we were on the boat with the governor.
Uh-huh.
And I said to him like, "Hey, would any chance we do this thing where we get a picture? We call it a Costello sandwich." He looks at me, and goes, "Sandwich? That makes me hungry."
Right. Oh boy. Yeah, good stuff. Well, you guys have certainly taken hundreds of those pictures over the
There's
going
to be a coffee table book that comes out soon.
Good. I like it.
one.
I like it. And more pictures of you and a book that you own. That's what we
On
need.
my table, yeah.
That's what we need. Any memorable things, Sean, that you can think of? Maybe some of the most memorable that you haven't covered already. Obviously, that family trip to Ireland had to be epic, right? In and
Yeah,
of
it was
itself,
great.
but-
We played with my mom was there and the family was there. That was great. But when my mom passed away, there was a lot of Rovers there, and it was really cool.
Yeah. They all played for my
meant a
mom.
lot, probably,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, outside of Viz, and it was great.
Yeah. I mean, there was probably like 50 that lined up and played
was
as my
awesome.
mom walked out. That was
Yeah, that's probably the biggest
tear-jerking,
one.
yeah.
Sure. Well, that's a good one. I mean, I would think so. And I mean, again, as we said at the outset of this, the Rovers itself is a family. Well, we had over 500 members in our 100 years or something. Is that where we landed on this the other day?
It's something like that.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that, which sounds like a big number, but then you think over a century,
Right.
Is it that there's so few people
Yeah,
that
so
have
it's just
gotten to
very
do what
small.
the four of us have, and
Yeah.
for you guys to be a flagship family of
Yeah.
the second half of this band, I think is pretty cool, guys. And
Yeah.
it's pretty neat, and I think family, literal and figurative, the bigger group,
Yeah.
is a big part of the Rovers. So I appreciate being your bass drummer. I hope I can keep that gig as long as I can.
Yeah, the face of the band.
I actually traded to get Horner in our group
yeah,
1 year too,
yeah.
so you're welcome.
Yeah.
That was a
And
downgrade of epic proportions.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking one for the team.
I think we should all just go out to the pub right now and then have
Yeah.
Horner drive us around for 2 hours. And we'll,
Let's
Here,
fire
here.
up the pipes. Yeah, get some free drinks going.
we'll come back and join us for another episode. It's good to have you both here. Thanks so much for being a part of this.
I'll see you at dinner
Thanks.
tonight, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mom's favorite.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks so much for listening. For more information, events and history, stories about the Shannon Rovers, visit our website at shannonrovers.com.
And don't be shy about booking us for your next event. A Shannon Rovers experience is not to be missed. And ask for that Pat Marc discount. It's actually a premium.